We live by time. Almost everything we do is controlled by time. There's a time to work, to eat, to sleep, to catch a train, to be on time.
And time is in the way we speak. We buy time, we spend time, we make time, we waste time. We're having the time of our lives. We're having a bad time.
But there was a time when no one used to think much about time, when it had no real meaning, when no one counted the hours, when it was simply light or dark, day or night.
For some people, this was not enough. They noted the position of the sun as it seemed to move through the sky, and worked out ways of measuring seasons, months, and years. There are those who believe that this was the purpose of Stonehenge in England, built more than 4,000 years ago.
It wasn't much good at telling the time, though. The 8-metre-high circle of stones was more a calendar than a clock, and it took the Egyptians to think of something more useful in the form of the tall and slender obelisk. The shadow this cast helped them divide the day into morning and afternoon.
Using a shadow to tell the time was an idea which lasted for centuries. In fact, the sundial, with an arm surrounded by a simple scale marking the hours, is still with us, an ornament in many parks and gardens. In the 18th and 19th centuries, they even had sundials which could be carried around.
Nice idea, and nice to look at, but so was the hourglass, which had been around since the 14th century.
The problem with the sundial, of course, is that it's not very accurate, and it's no use at all on a cloudy day.
And the problem with the hourglass is that someone has to keep turning it over.
What was needed was a clock, a means of measuring time that works on its own and doesn't depend on sunshine. Something that keeps running. Like water.
There were water clocks in ancient Greece. One of the most famous, though, was made in China in 1088. A model shows how it worked, with the continuous flow of water turning the wheel, which drives the mechanism. But the original was 10 meters high and rang bells to indicate the passing hours.
Again, the problem was accuracy. It was very difficult to control the speed at which the water flowed.
And the same sort of difficulty was found with early pendulum clocks. No one could work out how to keep the pendulum swinging at a constant rate.
Until a Dutch scientist named Christiaan Huygens came up with the answer in 1656.
Huygens built a pendulum clock which was accurate to within 1 minute a day. This was a turning point in the history of timekeeping.
From then on, something going well wasn't running like water, it was running like clockwork.
In the 350 years since Huygens, incredible advances have been made in the field of clockmaking.
With the development of the atomic clock, we can now tell the time to an accuracy of 1/1,000,000th of a second per year.
Our world depends on accurate timekeeping. Transportation, communication, manufacturing, electric power, and many other modern technologies demand clocks which are better than ever before.
And if it seems we never have a moment to escape the demands of time, don't worry. Having spent so many centuries making sure we can measure time so precisely, we've also thought up lots of ways to waste it.
People in Britain spend something like 11 days a year doing nothing at all, stuck in traffic jams.
Americans spend 8 months of their lives opening junk mail.
We spend about 45 hours every year on hold when making telephone calls.
With an average life expectancy of 76 years, we spend 24 years in bed
4 years travelling to and from our place of work,
and 2 years in the bathroom.
time to go.